Aaron said the other team is like, I can't wait till we get on that bus. I promise you, many of the Packers are also like, I can't wait till we get in that locker room, but I can wait just a little bit longer than those other guys. So I think that he's right. It's just about giving your opponent one more thing to think about. Like, you got to think about covering Adams. You got to think about beating those corners. You got to think about blocking the Smith brothers. You got to think about Aaron Rodgers coming after you. You got to think about that running attack. And you also got to think about the weather. You also got to think about perhaps potentially some snow. It's just one more thing to think about. It's not a huge factor, but it's something that's on the minds of the players that you would assume the Packers, since they live in that mess, will be comfortable with and not think much of it.
So, RC, who's the best equipped to go in and take down the Packers if home field goes through Green Bay?
You know what? I feel like we're starting to talk about the Packers like they're unbeatable all of a sudden. Like there's no team that can go in there and win. But this is a flawed team, and there are some good teams in the NFC. I think when I look at Seattle, playing better defensively, getting Chris Carson back healthy, and also having a quarterback who has gone to the East Coast and won, but a guy in Russell Wilson who can kind of match Aaron Rodgers with some of those wild plays and some of those super talented, elite-level quarterback football plays, you need to win there. And who's to say the Saints that because if it's snowing out there and they force Sean Payton to give the ball to Alvin Kamara, can't run the football, rush the passer defensively, and play tight man-to-man coverage like we saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do early on in the season. Oh, by the way, and the Bucs have a quarterback who's played in miserable weather his entire career. And so do I think the Packers are the lead or the head dog in the NFC? Absolutely, but there are teams that are equipped and able to go in there, and even if it's only 3 hours of misery, figure out a way to win in the snow, in the cold against Aaron Rodgers.
You got to have a hat like Dez. That's what you got to have. So who's your pick, Dez, to go in and take them down if they can?
Guys, I think I would go with the Seattle Seahawks. I think, RC, you hit on the head when you talked about their defense. Their defense is getting better. Russell Wilson is a winner. He can win in any climate, any region, any condition. He can get out there and get it done. People talk about Tampa and they talk about Tom Brady, but that's just one guy. Just think about this. These guys, every day when they go to practice, they slide their feet in some flip-flops. They get in their convertible and they drive to practice. Well, these guys, they're not made for that type of weather. Believe me, I was up there. I understand what it's like to have to go in sub-zero weather and go out there and play. So I would say that the Seattle Seahawks will probably be the team that's most equipped. When you get the Saints, listen, Drew Brees, Hall of Famer, I get that. But that's a dome team, guys. You're talking about going up to Lambeau Field in late December or in January at this point. You know how freezing cold it is. So I will go with the Seahawks.
All right, so you played there, right? You've had to play in the snow and the cold. Dez, what's it like? How bad does it get?
Hey, these guys know. Check this out, Ryan. They've played in cold weather regions, too. They understand what it means to, get up in the morning, start your car, and go back in the house for 10 minutes while it gets warm. Then you go out there, and you have to scrape the windshield, get the frost off the windshield. That's a whole different mentality. So when you're up there now, you live in it, you practice in it, you play in it, you become more acclimated to playing in that type of weather. And, brother, I'm telling you, we had a game against the 49ers, man. It was a playoff game. And it was probably the most miserable conditions I've ever played in because it's one thing to be cold, but it's a completely different ball game when you're wet and cold. And it was a wet game. It was nasty. It was cold. And we ended up winning that game, but that was the most miserable game that I ever played in, and we got that dub.
RC, you got a story?
Yeah, man, Lambeau was like the last field I played at. And so it was a big thing for me. I had covered every single stadium. It was snowing there. I was like, I'm going to make a big play. And I didn't wear gloves at the time. So it's a field goal. We blocked the field goal. I scoop it. I see Will Gay behind me. I pitch the ball to Will Gay, and he dropped it. And so Will Gay drops the ball. Coach Lambeau, who never cusses, who never screams, comes over to me. He's all mad, like, RC, we could have changed the game. I was like, I know, Coach, but this the last one, and I'm at Lambeau. And so, whereas Dez and those guys say you actually get acclimated to the cold, you don't ever get acclimated to it. You just tolerate it because you live there.
Nick, what do you got?
Nothing, man. I played there before, and I wiped it off from my memory banks because it was frigid, and I didn't like it. It was terrible.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.